Okay, so last time we got the very basics of the app up and running here, and we saw that we had the AWS Mobile Hub starter application running. I wanted to show you this because it does create a console back end here, and so you can see there's no app there yet. Or we're going to take care of actually pushing that app up there in a minute. But you'll actually be able to see and control the app right here. Mobile Hub breaks it down into projects, and then each project has can have one or more apps inside of it. So I just wanted to show you that. But let's go ahead and start taking apart this this application that we did. So let me open this up. I'll try to fit it into our screen here. Let me see, I think that's about right. Yeah, that should be about good. So if we look in here, we're going to have this folder called, or this file called app.js, and this is kind of the entry point to the application. It's not exactly the entry point. The entry point is really index.ios.js or index.android.js, depending on what you're using. But we're going to kind of simplify that. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna rip out a lot of this stuff because we don't need a lot of this stuff. We don't need. So we're going to rip out all of this. Wait, we want to keep Amplify. We keep AWS Mobile. You can get rid of all of this right here. The app, we can really get rid of app. We can really just make, now that I'm thinking about it, we can really just make app a very simple React Native container. Let me grab, so I'm not reinventing the wheel here. If I grab this, no, that's UPet's a better one. Here we go. Okay, so if we go in here, and we're just going to change this around a little bit. And we're just going to have class app. Components. And then we're going to have render, return. And then we're going to have view, text, hello, world. Oops. Okay, so that, then we just got to import those from React Native. Import view text from React.native. And then we're going to export that, and then we should be able to come back here and reload this and see just a bit. Yeah, there it is, hello world up there. So now we've kind of stripped out everything, and we're good to go to actually start designing our application here. Make sure. So when we think about it, we want, when you open this app, basically the app is going to ask two things. It's going to say, are you giving your consent, or are you requesting consent? There's two options. So that's really what we need, is we need two buttons. One says I want to give consent, or I want to give consent, or I want to ask for consent. So that's pretty easy. And by default, this comes with a library called React Native Elements. It comes bundled in there. If we look in our package JSON, we should have React Native Elements right here. So this is going to provide us with some buttons and stuff like that. Generally, internally, we in Gunner Technology, we use React Native Material UI. But just to get started, since this is such a simple application, I'm going to use React Native Elements, which is a pretty good UI framework. The document's going to be right here. Documentations, rather, is going to be right here on GitHub. And so you can see it provides some pretty nifty layout options that are cross-device compliant. So if we start with this, we go back here, and what we're going to kind of do is we're going to kind of set some styles on the view. Actually, we're going to see components included, tile, slider, search bar, rating, pricing, list item, form elements, card, button, badge. Okay, so we're just going to start here, and we're going to say style, and we're going to say flex 1, and we'll say padding top. We'll say padding is 50, and I just want to show you what that looks like, because this should be, I'm going to turn on live reload, Command D, and then enable hot reloading, which should make our changes appear much quicker when we make them. Let that load again. See, there we go. Now we're kind of spaced in a little bit here. We could change that a little bit and just go with 20. Okay, so that pushes it way back up there. So, but at least we have the spacing off the sides that we're looking for. So now we have this button. So if we look at the documentation for button, and actually we probably want to use a button group. So like, because we're going to have two options here. So we can basically say button group. First we got to import this group. And so then we're going to get rid of this text. And then we're just going to have this here. And so what they do here in their example is they put the we're going to say request consent, grant consent. Say history. No, we're not going to say that. Say we got to create a constructor. Cannot read property selected index of null. There we go. Okay, so now we have request consent and grant consent, and it goes back and forth like that. So we can have two very simple options right there. And generally, kind of, I don't know why it's so big. I think it's because, let's see, if we have using components. Okay, so you use components. This is kind of all of the options that are available for the app, or excuse me, for the button group. So you see in here on press is this update index, which basically just sets the state of selected index. So that's kind of, this is the basics for our app as we're seeing it right here. When we click request consent, basically what we can do here is we can say something like flex and then could do, I think we can do style, container style. Yep, that's what we want to do. Container style equals probably say height 50. That'll probably make it look a little better, or not. I don't think that actually did anything. Container style. Maybe it's button style. Button style. Alright, so it's not really doing anything, I'm not sure. Container style, component style, selected button style, text style. Okay. I'm not sure why that's not adhering to what we're telling it, but we can do flex or align. Wait, what am I trying to do? Flex, align self, and then flex and, well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm trying to put these at the bottom. There we go. Okay. So now we have the buttons are at the bottom at least. I don't know why. I don't know why they're so big. Okay, that didn't help us at all. You can see that that's crunched our. Oh, I know why. I think no. There we go. Although that's not right there, I don't think. Flex row. Yeah, we do want column. We don't want it to be so small. Okay, so we have to give the view an explicit width. That's odd. But good to know, because I didn't know that. It doesn't actually affect the width of it, though. Or excuse me, the height of it, though. I don't know how you make the buttons smaller. We want this at the bottom. This is just all kinds of weird. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And we can do, if we want to make this full width, we can do dimensions. And we can say const width height dimensions.get window. And then we should be able to do width. Oh, and I just realized. Oh, I am so dumb. So it's that's 40, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know why it's being weird like that. And never go back to getting that. That's really weird. I don't know why it's doing that, why it's collapsed when I don't have that. It's not what I would expect. But trying to account for the padding here that we gave it in the first step. So I'm just trying to smooth that out. There we go. Now, it doesn't seem to care about the height that we give it though, which I'm not sure why that would be. The example, container style height equals 100. But if we, maybe it has to do with this. There we go. Okay. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. There we go. And then if we kind of give this flex 4, it'll push it down further. And you can probably even do align self flex end. Yeah, that's not gonna do it. I'm just gonna leave that. I can keep playing with it. I can keep pushing this down by doing the flex property, but I'll just leave it like that for right now. So basically, when we have, sorry that took so long, just playing around with styles and get kind of caught up there. So if we have grant consent highlighted, it's going to bring up the barcode here. And if we have request consent, it's going to open the camera, basically. So we can kind of have this set up by saying view equals, and we're just doing this. We're just doing this kind of in a quick way. In React, you would create new components for everything, which we probably will go back and refactor if we have time, but right now we're just kind of trying to set everything up pretty easily. We'll say display barcode or display QR code. Okay, so both of those are displayed right now. So obviously we only want, basically we want to say selected index equals 0, right? Request consent is 0. If request consent is 0, then we want to show this. Else we want to show this. So right now request consent is clicked, so we'd be displaying display QR code, and then grant consent to open camera to read QR code. So this is going to be pretty much the entire the entirety of the application is request consent, grant consent, and that's going to be it. The app is going to store the consent on the back end. Again, like I said, we're not going to make this visible to the end user. It's just going to be simply grant, request, grant. So now that that's kind of set up and we removed a bunch of stuff, I'm going to pause there and we'll kind of pick this back up next time.